So, is it official that we do it? Okay, let's do it. Skip.
Mad commentary.
Hi, everyone. We're back again with another podcast episode. This will be podcast episode number 4. Okay. And we have a special guest tonight. I am Oya Gold of Gold Energy Management, and I'm here with my co-anchor.
Your daughter. I'm going to say your name. Your daughter, Aminat Ammo, a.k.a. Ammo Cat, everywhere on social media, Ammo Cat.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And my 14-year-old is joining us for this conversation that we think is very relevant. And say hi to the people, Anna.
Hi, I'm Anastasia or Annie.
I love it. So tonight we also have a special treat. You guys are listening in, but you don't know at the same time we're going live on Instagram, and the people can see us in real time recording our podcast. So we just want to do something different, and being that it's a commentary show, which means we just give our opinions, we talk about how we feel about things, what we think about it. It's really good for me because it helps me maintain my perspective, which is one of my personal challenges. And for Aminat, why do you think this podcast, like, what is it doing for you so far?
I enjoy having conversations with you and recording it and sharing with other people.
Okay. Annie, you've been, like, witnessing us doing this. How do you feel about it?
I think it's good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you excited to be here tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so tonight we're talking about the movie Antebellum.
Yeah.
We saw that as a family tonight, the movie Antebellum, and also just a little recap on election 2020, the aftermath from our perspective.
Yeah.
In our personal lives.
Yeah.
What we think about it.
Is it less political or more like just like personal, I would say.
I would say, I would agree.
At least from my perspective.
I like politics, but I know nothing about the intricacies of it as far as getting things actually done. I just know, like, okay, if you do this, then supposedly it leads to that, and then if you do that and you pay the right people, then that can happen.
I don't know anything really about politics. I don't educate myself on politics. I'm very open with the fact that I don't educate myself on politics. I don't really like politics, and it's weird because it seems like almost anything can be political, so it's like...
You don't like anything.
I don't... Like, you can turn any conversation political.
See, and I don't understand that, but I guess I do, because to me, politics makes me think of, like, diplomacy. Meaning we're talking about what our principles are, what our values are, so that we may be able to, like... To me, politics is, like, how do people work together without liking each other? Like, I don't like you, and maybe your interests aren't my interests, but you deserve to have your interests. So let's figure this thing out.
And I think that's a very nice, ideal, like, vision of politics.
That's how I see it, right?
That's, like, on paper, that's how it's supposed to be, but then in practice, it's not like that.
So, yeah, like I said, I like it in theory, but in practice, I know nothing about how... That's like when I used to strip, and... I enjoyed stripping. I like dancing. I have positive body imagery and all that stuff. But I remember working in the club, and I would not make enough money to do anything. Like, I would make just enough money for tip out, which is like what you pay to dance. Because I wasn't into the actual politics of the strip club. So if someone threw like $1 at me, I was offended. And then, like, I wouldn't put my butt on the stage because I felt like...
Right.
A lot of those girls had, like, pimples on their booties. And I was like, oh, no. I'm right, Annie. I was like, I'm not doing that. Right. And then I remember asking the owner, could I dance in sneakers? I was ready to try to be a burlesque performer then. Like, I have a show. I have an idea.
In sneakers?
It was like a schoolgirl, like, Britney Spears thing happening. And they were like, no. Emphatically, no. 6-inch heels, preferably platform. Maybe stilettos, but those are really hard to dance in to do anything of consequence in. So, and then even when you weren't on stage, you had to, like, appeal to the man's desire or need and figure that out. And, you know, I'm, like, predominantly, like, gay.
Yeah.
So figuring out some random man's desire, look at me, I'm clutching my pearls. I'm like, not for me, sis. Right. You know, so I didn't do really good. So that's how I think of politics. Like, in theory, I get it. I can dance and entertain people and make some money. But then when I get there, the politics of that is something totally different.
Right.
So,
I think that my thoughts on politics is like, I feel like if everybody is put in a position to do for themselves and provide for themselves however they need to, that needs to be enforced rather than what your beliefs should be, how things should go about in the world. I think that whatever makes you successful, go for it instead of going into the logistics of, oh well, people are Christians and how are we gonna, like, I don't see that as extremely important. More important than,
you mean like
just,
church and school, the religious conversation that goes. Okay, I could see that with politics because they try to make it separate, but to me, it's not separate. It's even more political. It's even more like, and then we're in a Christian state as far as the United States. Actually, based on what the Catholic Church did, the document of discovery, some junk like that. Historically speaking, the whole world's Christian, or it can be under Christian domain based on what the Catholic Church did. So that's a whole nother history lesson. But that's a true thing that happened I can't remember the Pope's name or the specific year of this rulership, but the Catholic Church let out a creed, 18-something, it's called Document of Discovery, something like that, which allows the Catholic rule to go anywhere on the globe and reign Catholic Christian, like, this is Christian land, this is Jesus Christ God land.
Yep, and
it can happen.
Venture around,
and they can do, unless you're gonna kill them or something like that, like some of the tribal people do in some of these remote areas. But now with all the technology, they don't have to go in there with guns. They can like drop a bomb. They can.
Right.
There's all these other things they can do in the name of Christ, and so Christianity is definitely political.
Some crimes are actually protected by religion. Like if I'm not sure what certain crimes are, but. If somebody goes and commits this act that is unruly and they say, oh, God told me to do it or something along those lines, they can actually be protected to a certain extent.
Interesting.
In America?
They probably don't get like the death penalty. They probably get like a mental institution lies type of thing.
Not really so much in America, but definitely it could probably be plausible in like Middle East. Yeah. Because
I could see that anywhere actually. Meaning, even in America, if you say God did it, people, depending on what the crime was, people might be like, "Oh, he's crazy," versus "Give him the death penalty."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's a different type of crazy if it's religious inspired versus I just want all the people dead. I don't like people who wear purple. Fuck them. But if you be like, "Oh, people who don't believe in my God," I don't think you do something drastic. It doesn't seem to hit the same way. People aren't as outraged, unless they're in the opposite religion, like unless they're Muslims and the Christian person killed Muslims, then the Muslims are outraged, but the Christians are like, well,
right,
and vice versa in other organizations. So, back to the point.
The movie?
Yes, the movie. That was I enjoyed that conversation with you guys. Hi, everyone. We're filming an episode of Mad Commentary live. You guys who are listening, we're talking to the people who are watching. And the people who are watching, we're talking. I'm yelling because the camera's far. The people who are watching, we're talking to the people who are listening. And this recording will be available as soon as we're done. And you guys, if you have questions, put it in the question box, and we'll be talking soon. And these are my daughters. If you're just joining us, and we're doing a live recording of Mad Commentary. Okay, that's the last time I'm going to do that.
All right.
So we're here to talk about again the movie Antebellum and. Election.
Well, before we get into talking about the movie, what would you rate the movie out of 10?
10.
10? A 10 out of 10. You say it's a 10 out of 10.
Yes. What would you rate the movie?
7. 7 out of 10.
A 7. What would you rate the movie?
9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
These numbers blow me. What? You think it was amazing?
I think it was an amazing movie.
I do as well. I think that... What?
Not here for it.
I don't know. I feel like it's a type of movie where...
It's my favorite kind of slave movies, or whatever you call them.
Listen. I think it's the type of movie where reading too much into it causes you not only to miss things, but miss the point and look too deep into things when you don't have to. Versus watching it on a somewhat surface level, you catch more things that way.
I could
and
agree with
process
that.
more things that way instead of always looking for an answer or a meaning to something.
Well, I
that's going
wasn't
on.
personally looking for
I
anything,
wasn't
and I
saying
didn't say
that.
you were, but I wasn't personally looking for anything deeper. I kind of called what they were doing just from watching the trailer. I was like, oh, they probably took her. They probably this is not going back in time. This is somewhere.
I did not have that idea.
Oh, I knew from watching the trailer. This is obviously somewhere in America that people are like, because he said wherever you're from, you're not there anymore. So that line alone was kind of like a clue. Like
It was foretelling. I missed
maybe
that.
that was foretelling. Like
I thought it was like foretelling, but
why
like
would they say that?
not literal
You know what I'm saying?
foretelling.
And it's like it wouldn't make sense for time travel. I feel like if it was a time travel, it wouldn't have been as good as it was.
I thought it was gonna be time travel or dimensional travel or
Isn't it-
dream world travel, which
They
would have made it
kinda-
really spiritually relevant to me.
They
No.
made it seem that way because they had like that little quote in there. I forgot what it was about, but it was basically
About
like
the past
lives.
the past. There's no such thing as the past. The past is now, or something along.
But then
something
that
to
should
that
have been a hint that it wasn't time travel. That it literally was.
yeah.
Again, I have a spiritual perspective of things, so I look at it. I instantly saw dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
So this is happening here and there and here and there and here and there. I didn't think of it as one linear thing happening at all. That was never a
reason-
perspective of until I saw the cell phone.
Yeah. The reason that I gave it a 7
Mhm.
is because story, like idea wise, is a really cool concept. Even though I called it, I'll be calling these shits. That's just how I am. I just be calling it. It's just so obvious these days. But the concept I thought was pretty interesting. I just felt like there was just a lot of nothing happening.
How could you feel like nothing was
I
happening?
felt like it was a short nothing movie.
What?
And there's parts that was really good. Like I like when they tie in like with the yoga, then they tied it in later with her creaking, but they're not explaining it, and then they show at the end why she's doing all
love
that.
those
And
things.
like that was cool, but it was just literally like for those little like things that they brought back in for me that I saw. I was like, oh, that's cool, but like.
So the plot didn't
Like
mean
when the
any-
guy, like spoilers, we're going to be.
It's gonna be a lot of spoilers in this, you all.
But when the professor guy died, I wasn't like, oh my god, he's dead. I was like, that was
I
the
knew
most.
he was gonna die.
But the fact that we know he's gonna die, we know that at some point I hate that. I'm tired of. I'm just tired of
I'm trying
predicting.
to argue with your perspective. I'm not going to.
I just really don't like predictability in movies, and I think that's why I give it a 7 out of 10.
See, I don't mind predictability in movies because that was very common sense. To me, that, like, I like a movie that's more actual. So, yeah, I could figure it out because that's what would actually happen.
That he would die?
Yes.
Well,
yes.
I mean...
I'm surprised she didn't get shot on the way out. Like,
I felt like, first of all, common sense-wise, there's two of y'all. How y'all let this man overpower y'all?
Because if they haven't been eating, they've been being beat down psychologically and mentally. He's got to cuss the nigga out under his breath just to keep some type of sanity about himself.
Man, I call bullshit. No.
So if you was in that scenario, you think...
First of all, if I was her, right, starting from that night, first of all, I would have had something ready to kill his ass before I even leave the house.
Meaning you wouldn't
have
you wouldn't have stepped over him. You would have...
No, he would have been dead. We would have fought on that bed. They had a whole brawl and no one came to them, so they had perfect chance to be loud in that house and fight. And then she could have got the cell phone, came back in the house. He there dead. Open the eyeball. She could have done the whole thing in the house. And then homeboy still would have been alive. I'm not saying that she would have survived. I'm not saying that's 100% certain that I would survive.
Yeah.
But I felt like leaving him alive and sneaking around like the general, I feel like I'd rather take the risk of trying to kill him there instead of
You're such a warrior. You've always
trying to...
such a warrior. How about you?
I agree though.
You would have tried to take him out
That's a lot smarter. Cause girl, ain't no way.
I
you
just
walked
think-
out the house and you thought he was still asleep.
Exactly. Like, you already put a target on your back. He could have said, all right, ring, 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 woke everybody up, and then there would have been a search.
Yeah. I do think she should have killed him on the way out, or strangled him, or set the place on fire.
He was asleep. He was defenseless. I get that she
but also
gone through her trauma, but like he was literally.
I would have got a knife or something, had it under the bed.
That's what I'm saying. Right.
Now that was the only part of the movie but then I understand that because I guess what it is for me it didn't make sense that you left him awake. I mean, left him asleep and alive. You left him alive,
right?
And then all that stuff went down with the cell phone. Then y'all went back.
Yeah, they could.
Like I was like, why you just got on the horse then?
See that's another alternative.
But I do believe everything happened for a reason, and and to me that's what made it like a 10, because that's like real life, the faith aspect, that thing that you can't count on, like the whole thing that Christians say about Jesus, he may not come when you call, but he's always right on time. Like that's an ideal about an energy imprint to me of living, meaning you plan life a certain way, it doesn't go that way, but however it goes, it works the way it's supposed to work, because it's all of us here thinking, all of us here emoting, all of us here cussing, all of us here putting people in jars, doing spiritual rituals, praying, meditating, like all these people meditating all over the world, all these people having an opinion.
Yeah.
It's all a part of this gumbo of reality and actuality. So one person's prayer is not more powerful than another person's prayer.
Right.
One person's prayer is just powerful for them. And I think that with that being said, everyone's personal power imprint, no matter how much they put it out there or how much they keep it inward, has a vital and important and, to me, harmonious and equal part in the whole grand scheme of things. And I guess that's why I like that movie, because even with all those, to me, what I consider fuck ups, like leave him alive, like I wouldn't have wanted to fight that white lady like that. I would have wanted to keep her alive, which I think was her thing. I mean, she got mercy by getting her head knocked off by that statue. That was mercy for me, for her.
I think I just felt like as a person trying to enjoy a story being told, there's a lot of things for me I felt like I didn't get any satisfaction from this story.
And see, maybe that's a gender, because for me, coming from movies like I was born in the 80s. So there's Roots, there's all these Thomas Jefferson movies. There's Django. There's Hotel Rwanda. There's like all these movies with black suffering based on race and slavery, historical things happening. And for me, they're all like 12 Years a Slave. It took me forever to watch that movie, right?
Yeah.
And then in the end, I felt like how you felt. It was a nothing ass movie, because the only reason we know about this movie because his black ass could read and he was educated and he was free. And then whatever happened, he got locked up and became a slave. But because he could write and he was educated and he had rich white friends, is how we have a goddamn movie called 12 Years a Slave.
Right.
So for me, it was a nothing ass movie because his story was so unique and probably not the norms or the many. So it was like, what's the point of this story in the grand scheme of slavery in that time? Like, I want him to go back.
Well, I guess I haven't seen 12 Years a Slave.
Oh, if you see that, it's good, but it's like...
Well, here's the thing. I don't enjoy watching slavery movies. So
I don't either.
So that's the thing.
I never seen Roots.
If I'm going to be watching slavery movies or even bringing people back to slavery times, the payout better be so good. I like Django for that reason. Exactly. The payout better be so good that I'm watching black people suffering, that the payout better be so good at the end that it was worth me seeing motherfuckers die.
Do you identify as black?
I don't like that question. I'm black. I don't identify as black. I'm just black. That's how I feel about it.
I don't like to identify as black, and I don't feel black, if that makes sense. Like, I've never... And that's... And
I don't
here's
feel
why.
Black 'cause I don't think you could feel black, personally.
I agree. But I think, like, this movie... I heard no black people talking about this movie. And so, for that reason, it's hard for me to identify with the black collective. Does that make sense?
I get what you're saying. But I think the reason why no one really talked about it is because no one was really interested in seeing another slavery movie.
But it wasn't a slavery movie. But it was literally some crazy ass.
But that's what it looked like.
But it's Janelle Monáe.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of Janelle Monáe's acting.
Really?
And I think that's another reason why the score may be a little lower.
You crazy?
She's not terrible. She's not like that motherfucker who played with the voice of Groot. Who's him?
Ving Rhames.
Huh?
Is it not Ving Rhames? Vin Diesel.
Yeah, she's not terrible like him. Like I think he's a terrible actor. But I don't think she's like what's her name, Viola Davis. I don't think she's like that good of an actor, but I think she's like. I think she gets the job done.
Yes.
But she doesn't move me. When she got slapped, I ain't gonna lie. I don't know if you guys heard me. I chuckled a little bit.
That's horrible.
First of all, the slap was so funny, and the way she reacted was hilarious to me.
The
black girl running before she died was more believable. I didn't even want to see that. I was like, I didn't even want to watch that. Seeing her, what happened to her, I was just like, I mean, yes, this is terrible, but she just didn't move me. You know what I'm saying?
What about when she was on the horse at the end and she was running away? Did that move you?
The confusion of the scene overrode what the fuck was going on. I was like, what the fuck is going on? But again, I called it. I called it before even the reveal. I just be so good at calling.
I like Janelle Monáe as an entertainer / performer.
I love her as a performer.
By that I also mean as an actor. I do, as someone who loves acting and can act. Mm-hmm. She good to me. She's a lot better than me. That's for damn sure. So I'm not saying she's a terrible actor. But I won't say she's. My ego is not letting me say she's better than me as an actor. But her opportunity affords her to be in these movies, and I thought that the movie.
She likes to do acting. She's doing more acting.
I think she's good at it. Yeah. I just think that it was a very relevant movie.
I can see the relevance in it. I think because the concept
no one
was
talked
so
about
cool, and I feel like they didn't push it to its fullest potential, and I feel like one, maybe that's why it didn't get a lot of attention. Like, I literally called almost every single thing that happened,
but I think that was intentionally on purpose.
I think people just don't want to keep seeing the same old slave movie.
But to me, it wasn't a slave movie.
But that's same. I feel the same way.
That it wasn't.
If it was a slave movie, then I think the plot would have been more like, this is time traveling, rather than this is existing at the same time.
They can't be slaves. They were burning the cotton.
This is not really, I feel like, a slave movie, because it's just like, do you see these people calling the white man their master or master? No, it's always sir. Mm-hmm. It's always like, I'm talking to you as like, not hired, like not inferior, because
they were kidnapped.
Exactly. And the white people that were there, they was like, we got the land, whatever. Those white people there was not believing that, but back then, they did not know any escape. They did not know any life.
I can see that. I still see it as a slave movie, to be honest, because I see it as
the topic of.
To me, it was like a cosplay slave movie.
Like a roasting up. They were definitely role playing. It was like role playing gone too far. Like, they probably started off with the whole coming to the reenactment thing, like really getting into it, but like secretly they're like racist as fuck, and like, you know what, to really take it to another level, let's actually get some motherfucking slaves.
Let's do it.
And I knew it was on some fake shit when they were burning the cotton. I'm like, so they're not picking the cotton to make money or to do anything with it, like how they did actually back in the day. Like, they don't need to do that. It's a reenactment. So
I remember you said they were burning the cotton. I was like, it must be like bad cotton. I remember saying
they just want them acting. They want them acting like slaves. They want them but they don't need the cotton for anything, so they're gonna burn the cotton. But they just want them in the field. They want the whole slave in the field look. They want to look out in their house and be like, oh yeah, the slaves are picking cotton and stuff like that.
I just don't understand, and that's why I say for me it's hard. It's challenging with my personal perspective to align with the terminology black person collectively with the other black people for two reasons. One, because of the social construct of it. I have a problem with the inception of how that word comes up and how, especially now that we're in a time where it makes more sense and we're learning how to like have unity. There's going to be a lot more race mixing, I'm sure. We're going down a trajectory that says we're going to be coming together, all of us, right? Especially if we have a one world system. We're all going to be mixing up and coming together. And with that being said, it's like, so then we're all gonna be black, number one. So is that what's gonna happen? Everybody gonna be black? Because according to science, once you get some black in you, you're black.
But some people in the black community reject that idea. They're tired of the one drop rule.
But even if it's not a one drop rule, if you marry a white guy and then your kids marry a black people, you get what I'm saying? Then your children gonna be black, pretty much.
Yeah, well, they'll be multiracial, biracial.
I don't get the whole See, that whole thing of race right there is bothering me. The multiracial thing, the race thing.
Yeah.
To me, there's ethnic groups, and what we hear the term haplogroups, meaning your blood group, the people who share your blood, your actual same type of blood, groupings and patterns.
Yeah.
So my thing is like blood and ethnicity as far as
so what do you say is the solution, or what is the
I guess you know what, I don't know what the solution is,
and because I don't have a solution to it, and nor do I really trying to think of a solution.
And it's like I don't know if I like having these thoughts. What I'm saying is I have these thoughts when I see these movies, like this is why I don't like being considered black, an adjective. This is why right here, because if I'm gonna be a black person, then where are all the black people? Like why? Even Harriet Tubman, I saw that movie. It was very poignant. No one talked about it. So then you don't want to make it like a black woman versus a black man thing. But that is in our history, and we need to talk about it and reconcile it so we can come to an agreement and move forward. So to me, that movie had meaning like I like the movie because it showed, and why it was so relevant. They showed a black woman with great friends, healthy sexuality, healthy, dealing with her trauma, successfully going after what she believes is important. A man that loved her was looking for her when she got disappeared. The guy said he's always on TV talking about his wife. Like he was looking for his black queen.
Yeah.
So to me, there's like this love story aspect in there that is not really like developed or even explored, but it's there.
Yeah.
And to me, that's relevant if we're walking around here saying black men don't this, black people that, black women this, that. So to me, if we're talking about programming, which is why I watch movies, programming and to let certain things hit my subconscious a certain way, to me, that would have been a very relevant, very important movie for black people.
Yeah.
And just on that, just as a program.
Especially right now.
And they got away. And she got away.
Yeah.
And she was protected, meaning the divine protected her. The phone didn't not work.
Yeah.
It worked. She was able to send the ping out, meaning the cosmos, the satellites, everything was conspiring for her to escape. She had people who had to die for her to escape. She had willing sacrifice. She had people who said, I will give you my life to go.
Yeah.
For you to get out here and shut this down. So she was giving willing sacrifice. The skies above, the heaven, the satellites, that's what we do, cell phone, was able to help her. Her husband never stopped looking. His heart energy alone kept her knowing she was going to get out. And then when she got through their war. That's their war. Those white folks is battling the Confederacy versus whoever. That's their war. And she went through their war unscathed. And not only did she get through their shit unscathed, like that has nothing to do with me. The police were showing up as she was coming out, meaning more protection. And then if you notice, there was white people who had phones on her, like they were recording her. She's a star. Which is what the name in the movie breaks down to all these different decodes that I was, y'all saw me in real time breaking the movie down. And it's like, to me, it was so relevant. It was so,
I think it's relevant.
And I just didn't understand how I'm supposed to, then other black people like, how can you not gonna call yourself black? Because y'all don't be acting black. Whatever black is supposed to be, y'all don't be acting that way. And then I be getting aggravated because I'm going along with this whole status quo, and y'all not even rising to the occasion of the status quo. If black's supposed to mean something, let it mean something.
Right. Watch the movie. Talk about the movie.
Or just those types of ideas together. I haven't seen no one talk about Antebellum.
Yeah, when it came out, it was pretty quiet, and then I just heard some negative reviews.
I heard a lot of negative reviews, like, it was a horrible movie, it was this, it was that. And then, like, as this ties into the after effects of this 2020 election, and we have a black woman as a vice president, but she's Indian, but we're calling her black. Some people call her black because she's melanated. So it's like all these rules and and it's just like, why can't we just be people who care about other people?
I don't think that'll ever be possible.
I don't know. And maybe you're more of a realist or actualist than I am in that way.
Because some people, there's always going to be
the liars, the murderers.
There's always going to be people who genuinely just honestly don't care about other people and they don't feel any kind of way about it. And there's always going to be people who are going to feel edgy or cool going against the grain. So if everyone's like, yes, let's care for other people, someone out there's going to be like,
I just want to kill someone, see what it feels like.
I want to, as they would call them, trolls. Trolls exist even in real life. They're just not online, and we don't call them trolls.
I don't have a problem with that per se. I guess I don't. You know what? I don't have an argument for that or a problem for that, or even see an issue for that. Because at the end of the day, I do believe after you go through all your processing and your self accountability and your self responsibility, we do live in a somewhat, and a lot of people don't like when people say this, victimless, villainless world. Things are happening as they should. If a lot of people got to get raped and murdered for the human consciousness to evolve past that, that's what's going to happen. And so people feel like that part of your brain and instinct. You want to put that back up, Annie? You want to put that back up? But a lot of people wouldn't. You know, how are they going to feel about that? Sorry, guys. You got to take the little thing off. Okay. So yeah, we had a little technical difficulties. The camera fell, but we're back on. So, but yeah, what I'm saying is like, based on what I've been studying with human evolution and like we're evolving still. We're still changing. Our solar system is moving through the galaxy and all this extra shit. So it's a lot of things to me that are not stable. Number one. Or, like, even not just stable, but, like, set in stone. Who we are now as a species is not to say who we're going to be 100 years from now, or 200 years from now, or 300 years from now. And it's easy, I think, for us to sit here in the position we're in now, because right now we still have a foot in history. We're still looking at slavery and looking at all these different things, like, you know, that are, like, slavery, taxes, pollution, all these ideas, but then we have another foot in the future, like, you know, how does quantum physics really apply to the everything? How is hemp going to change all of our industries? You know, Sydney Green of ATL Orgy Parties, she has she had a video today where she was talking about sex workers and prostitutes and all these things, like sex workers basically. And how on Instagram, if they're going to blow someone's head off, they put the little sensitive thing up on there. Like, this is sensitive. An animal's getting killed or something's happened that's bloody mess. So they put the little sensitive cap and you give you the option to look at it.
Right.
But they don't give that to people who use the internet to make money via sex. Selling sex, selling pictures, videos, whatever that is. And if they show a little too much areola or a little too much butt cheek or something is, like, questionable and someone reports it, that's their page, which is their livelihood, gets taken down and da-da-da. But someone can post, like, she made a great point. We all saw Mr. Floyd die.
Yeah.
Last breath leave his body, call his mama, everything. We saw that. But we don't see people making love. You know what I'm saying? That's not normalized to see someone making love.
But in a way, it's like normalized, but like in a twisted way.
Oh yeah, because you'll see certain, I won't say celebrities, but certain people on the internet doing abusive sexually things, and it's joked about, it's passed around. Still taboo, still not going to be in your face, but it's like, again, that's why it's challenging for me with the black title. Like, I like it when I'm like black goddess, dark goddess, all these different terms, but in my mind it's just like a symbol or a status for an awareness, a way that I am. So for me, with the election, everything, it's the clouds and the dust has settled somewhat. Biden is the new president. Kamala is the vice president. And we're trying to figure out, what does that mean? And my thing is, will it mean anything different than when Democrats are in the office? Now, I do know that we have what you call activators. Obama was one. Certain people activate you a certain way, turn you up a certain way. And I see, but I'm looking, and I don't see anyone really turned up for her, if that makes sense. They're saying, oh, Kamala, black,
well, you know. Here's what I'm seeing mostly about Kamala and Biden. Especially people who voted for her. A lot of people are saying, like, yes, we voted for them, but it doesn't mean that it's like, woohoo, yeah, everything's fixed. Like, we're still going to critique them the same. We just wanted them to get in office. Now we need certain things getting done. We're not going to do what, like, Trump stands do, which is, like, everything Trump does, perfect. Good, bad, perfect. They don't care. They love it. Trump can do no wrong, to most of, like, these crazy Trump fans.
But isn't that the status quo for anyone in office? and the people who believe in them.
Of course, there's gonna be people who's gonna be like super like Biden lovers, but to be honest, I really haven't seen anyone who's like
super Biden lover.
Who's like, yes, I love Biden because Biden has done a lot of weird shit, a lot of questionable things, said a lot of questionable things. Even recently, a cab is a big thing right now, and Kamala was a cop. So like people are like, we are aware.
She was a cop. I didn't know that. Oh wow.
So the people are like, yeah, we know what they've done, but we wanted Trump out. Trump is out. So it doesn't mean we're gonna be like sucking their dick all the time, and that's the general consensus I'm getting about them. Because even people who voted for them are still sharing around things that they've done in the past. Like, let's not forget, like they did these things just because they're saying they're doing this.
I kind of like that,
and I like that too because
that's a different tone.
It's a different tone because I thought it was gonna be like, oh my god, they're gonna be
kumbaya.
Like,
I haven't sensed a kumbaya. I sense like everybody's like this, like they're just looking.
The most celebratory thing I'm getting is, yay, Trump's out and. Kamala is, melanated woman in office. That's the most I'm getting as far as celebration, as far as them being elected. But other than that, no one's really saying like, oh, they're. It's not like how it was like with Obama, from what I remember. It's like Obama, yes.
And that's what's kind of confusing me a little bit because if she is a woman of color and her parents are immigrants coming over here, like she's so loaded as a symbol, spiritually, mentally. It's a loaded symbol. It's a female. Like we've never had a female in any of those top 4 positions. Maybe we had Condoleezza Rice was in office. I forget.
No, I'm just getting.
I forget what she did.
To the age of like,
even noticing this stuff.
Have to be involved in politics.
Yeah. So that, and I guess it's my whole thing. Like, I would love to see. Now, here's what I would love with the antebellum and the what happened with the election. I'd love to see more of what, like, if that was a reality, what would have happened in real life? What kind of? It has to be. It has to be opened up, released. So the air, it has a little stem on it.
This?
Right there. That flips up. And it creates a suction is what keeps it. And then the foam may be leaning too much forward.
So
literally.
Like tilted back.
Yeah.
Back.
Like that?
Yeah, and then pay attention to what you're doing. You got it?
And then do I just...
Here, tilt it back before you do the section.
And Matt, go help her, and I'll talk to the people. So you guys, we're handling the camera thing because we're actually live on Instagram while we're recording this. So you'll be able to go to my page, which is at Oya Gold on Instagram, and see this. We're going to save this video, and I'm probably going to do a Q&A after we finish recording on Instagram. So you guys can actually see that in real time. See that, and everything's just falling right now. Straighten it up, girlfriend. It's not straight. It's crooked. Like it's crooked. It's still crooked. We're getting. It's not. That's good. Okay. All right. So yeah, we're back. Where are we at with time?
Oh, we got a good. I would say good 15.
Okay. So yeah. So I don't know. It's not that I don't know. It's just my perspective, I think, is really idealistic. But that's my perspective. That's my opinion. I feel like that movie was really good. Everyone should watch it. And I think the attitude she had, and the whole like the way she lived her life. Even she was in therapy, a touch therapy at that. So she was doing yoga, and it was like the lady was talking to her.
Mom?
What?
I think you're able to pull out all the best parts of the movie and explain it so well that if you explain it to a person, they'd be like, oh my god, this sounds amazing. But the experience of watching the movie does not match the energy of what you're able to bring out the best parts. And I think that's the issue for me, is like, there's, like I said, there's the potential was there. There's so many good things that really could have been fleshed out. Like, they really could have brought more out with the family, right? They really could have. It felt like the movie went by so fast. And it felt like I said, a whole lot of nothing. Like, it could have been a lot more smarter. Like, the way that
I see what you're saying.
Or the way that Get Out made me feel like, oh shit, like, oh, like it was so smart.
And see, when you say smart, I think satanic. So to me, what it says is that the movie wasn't actually in alignment with human reality.
Yeah.
Meaning, if I was asleep with this guy in this bed and I'm about to escape, I am going to kill him on my way out.
You're killing him.
Yeah.
You're not gonna. when she was like on top of him,
and then she didn't let you would let other slaves out. You cause total chaos.
When she was like, tonight, I'm like, oh, it's about to go down, and it really didn't go down. The energy, the way she said it,
but the feeling of when it says Antebellum State Park, when she comes out of there, that was like, I think that is the part that I felt like that was the only scary part to me. That is highly plausible.
Yes, but in
America
I was already scared
or anywhere,
before that part.
That is highly plausible. You can get kidnapped and taken somewhere in America, where on a private property, thousands of miles from where you live, so no one's checking for you in Antarctica on a meat slave farm.
I was already like that point that you're making.
That's scary to me.
I felt that when they pulled her off the horse at the very beginning, because I already had the concept like this is like somewhere in America right now. So I was already had that fear and that reaction at the beginning of the movie. That's why I was like, oh, this is so scary, because this is like not only real that this has happened, but
and she knew that professor. So something happened where they got her with someone else. Well, they showed how they got her, but they didn't show.
But we don't know if they had a conversation, and that's how she knew this professor. If she just knew him. That's another thing. Is like there's certain things. It's like they didn't really flesh out where you can be like,
because she starts off a slave, and then she's in regular life. And then she gets. They show actually how she got kidnapped.
Yeah, we see the woman. We
saw how she got kidnapped.
We see how she got kidnapped, and then we see her breaking point, which is the woman hanging herself, and then she leaves. But there's just so many little things that could have like the way you described it. That's how you should have felt watching it, I feel like.
And I guess she had run a few times that they didn't show. I mean, she's been running, but she doesn't get far, apparently.
Yeah, I feel like Annie said, it's like if you go too deep into it, it's not as enjoyable because it's actually kind of already surface level. It didn't go into the many levels that it could have been, and I feel like that would have made it better.
And I feel like it should have been a lot longer.
Yeah, not even like a lot longer.
It felt like 30 minutes. It felt like
felt like a lifetime to me.
It felt long because it felt a little boring, but it was short because it was like not like you really think about what happened.
It gave me a lot of anxiety. Because I was wondering how she's going to... I mean, I guess I could imagine that happening. I grew up in the 80s where there's a whole white band picking children up. So for me, like, being kid... And then also, you got to remember... Again, I hate to be reoccurring with the cult thing, but I grew up in a religious cult.
Yeah.
So we lived in the middle of a place.
What was the genre of this movie?
I think it was horror thriller.
Because if it was horror thriller, they really should have amped up that whole...
I was glad I didn't have as much blood as I thought I was going to have, and hang-ins and...
No, I'm grateful for that because I feel like sometimes movies go a little too out of hand.
It's like traumas you.
It's like it starts turning into like this weird like trauma porn kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think that could be a reason why black people don't want to watch a movie that looks like a slave movie because it's like how much more are we gonna watch?
Yeah. If you haven't seen Antebellum, go check it out. There's not any like. There is a hanging, but it wasn't because no white people did it.
And even like the rape scenes aren't really like rape scenes.
I didn't even think they had any actual rape scenes.
It
was implied.
Yeah, it was
talked
rape.
about.
Like she was just laying there, but it wasn't like aggressive and like traumatic looking. It was just like him getting off of her.
Which is kind of more scary if you have an imagination like mine, which is why it gave me so much anxiety watching the movie. Like that was very horrific to me.
Well, I'm glad that the rape scene was like that instead of it being like
crazy.
How they could go with it.
It's just challenging for me, the whole conversation with the whole black thing and like it's I'm listening to a lot of my friends and my peers and people I look up to. It's like you have Aquarius Maximus. You guys shout out to Aquarius Maximus. Google her. Okay, Google her. And Guapcoin, shout out. And what happens is she's talking about karmic reward, right? And then you have like a Nicole Ray. Shout out to Nicole Ray, who's like a phenomenal young woman who's doing this wonderful thing of living her life for her. Right. And that is something that people nowadays is lost on so many people. So many people are living their lives for others. And she's talking about, the shadow aspect of self and karmic debt. So here we have karmic debt and here we have karmic reward. And they're like the same thing, but the flip side. And my thing with black people, there's so much karmic debt that we're not dealing with as far as our hand in the pot of some of this stuff happening.
Yeah.
That how are we going to get our karmic reward? How are we going to be debt free?
And see, that's why I get really stressed out sometimes with like.
So it's so you know what I'm saying? Like I'm hearing on all these different sides, and my thing is like I just want to make it like when I'm talking about it, it's kind of, for me, it's tying into what I'm doing, gold energy management, and that vision is getting clearer and clearer as far as, how I'm going to be moving forward. Because at the end of the day, everyone is teaching something spiritual, or like a Shara Star Goddess is phenomenal with decoding, and Mama's Matriarch will have you getting your life together, taking full accountability. The Trap Witch be talking to your soul. You get what I'm saying? Like, all these different practitioners are doing their thing. And I personally feel like I don't want to regurgitate information that is like literally out there.
Yeah.
I like to do my channel talks. I like to do very personal work, very personalized, one-on-one. And if I'm dealing with a group, we're dealing about a subject, and we're breaking it down so there could be a value for each individual in that setting, not this blanket understanding. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for me, a movie like Antebellum is a great program for how I know we have to be clicked in. If we're going to try to get this reward and be debt-free karmically.
Nah, yeah, I get you.
Was that too much?
It was a little too much for me. I kind of got lost in a few parts. My eyes kind of glossed over a little bit. But for the most part, I got the essence of what you were saying.
I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
And I don't see, if I'm having and I love, like, what did you say, Annie, to me about me? What did you say about
What?
Annie told me last night, I think you like to think a lot.
Oh, you always thinking.
She didn't say you're always thinking.
You love to think.
You love to think.
I love to think. I do think a lot. I do a lot of processing. And if sometimes I get overwhelmed, it makes me worried about the other people who don't like to think. And how is this hitting? If I like to think, and I think of problems to think my way out of the problem.
That's the thing. It's like, right? It's like, as time goes on for me, it's like, as much as I want the world to be a better place, and like, it's like, it doesn't make me sad, but it's just, it kind of blows my mind how sick and twisted the world is. It's like, it's too much stress to even try to put that, like, goal in my mind to make the world a better place. I've given up.
Your eyes look a little watery just as you said that.
I was yawning. So
okay.
So, I'm not emotionally moved right now. But like, now I'm at a point is like, whenever I talk to other people and they're like, well, how are we going to fix this? Or blah, blah, blah. It's like, we cannot fix strangers over the internet, in my opinion.
I agree.
We cannot fix strangers over the internet. We cannot fix America. We cannot fix...
On Instagram.
Especially, like, online, or just even through government policies. Like, we have to start with literally ourselves, our friends, and our family. If my family unit's okay, then we good. And then if I have kids and they make sure their friends are good, or they surround themselves with good people, then you start to kind of build this community of people who are moving the way you want them to move. So I can't be concerned if Junior in motherfucking New York or whatever thinks that, like, gay people are terrible or something like that. I can't be up at night like, how are we gonna fix this? Like, people hate this or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's part of the theory of people like that are either gonna die out, or they're gonna kill the others. That's my theory with that kind of shit. Like, if they get so mad about the gays, they'll just... But that's what people who don't really like gays do. They already kill gays.
Yeah.
And people who don't like blacks try to kill blacks. And people who don't like whites try to kill whites, and vice versa. And it goes on and on and on. So it's either going to be the world is going to, like, Grandma used to say this thing to me, and I've said it on my lives 10,000 times. She says to me all the time, you're born here meeting it, and you're going to die here leaving it. And that makes me think about, like, the Matrix, and the fact that, like, is this really a simulated reality of a dream that I'm having as a god? And, like, it's like that deep.
Yeah.
So does it really even matter? And do these problems really represent what I think they represent?
And here's the thing. It's like, some people, they get all stressed out when they think about, like, life after death and what it all means, and, like, they need to be grounded.
I feel like that's relief.
It
makes me feel very
when
relaxed.
I'm feeling really stressed out and, like, I'd be like, girl, I'm finna die anyways, it doesn't even matter. Or it won't even matter tomorrow, or it won't matter a year from now. So that's how I keep myself stress-free of, like, worldly problems.
Yeah.
That's the same attitude that sometimes goes through my mind when I'm at school. Like, school is important, studying is great, do it. Really expands your mind, helps you think, actually. But let's say I fail a test, something happened. I'll be stressed out for a little while, and then the little voice in my head is like, girl, this ain't gonna keep you from making no money. Ain't nobody finna stop you from...
I love that she's saying that because she's not making any money right now. But she's all the way like, it's not gonna keep me from making no money.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
You gotta do.
It's an attitude.
Yeah.
Like, I look at this grade, and I have this grade, but...
It doesn't dictate who you are, your value.
Exactly. And I also think they should start applying that in school more, because I see a lot of people that I interact with, like, oh, my grades. I have to have all straight A's. And half the people, their parents aren't pushing them to be that way, but I feel like it's the way the system is.
So their parents are definitely
because they'll get
way.
Most children I know who want to get A grades, if it's not about them really learning to love, they want to get a scholarship so their parents won't have to pay for college, which is rooted in finances and maybe some type of lack or poverty consciousness. It's okay to get the benefit and get the boost, but to be dependent on it to the point like your child has to overachieve. And
I went to school, with people who would cry if they got a 98, and I know this is like an exaggeration, but if they got a 98 and something, they would cry about it. I knew a girl who was so stressed out about school that over senior year she developed a skin disease.
Oh, wow.
And she would pick, and it was like really bad. Like she was that stressed out. And she was like, yeah, just really stressed, blah, blah, blah. And like you would see her, like if she's studying, you see her like picking at it. And it's like,
but only when she's like studying,
like she was super stressed out. And like, yeah, she went to a good school, whatever. Like, like, I guess she found Jesus. So many people from Davidson are like especially the people who are like really like hard achievers now, like on their social media, they're like super like Christian, like, thank you.
Because it's like you need something else.
They needed something
to be good at, something else to struggle with, something else to overcome.
Constantly quoting the Bible and stuff. I had to unfollow all of them because I was not trying to see what's it called, verses,
Bible verses.
I was not trying to see Bible verses all on my timeline, so I had to.
Some of the Bible verses be lit though.
It was obnoxious. It's like it's them like hiking like. And there's like a Bible verse, and I'm like, okay, like, what does this got to do with the Bible verse? Like, I don't even want to read this shit. Like,
it was a lot of capping, religious capping.
It just felt very.
I wonder if that's the thing, religious capping.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god,
it felt very superficial.
When I feel like I am not in a place where, if I feel like I have to get on social media and put on for my business, my spirit, because my company is spiritually based. I'm an ordained minister, all these things. I take my spirituality really seriously, like maybe too serious. And Chronos energy, Saturn energy. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of if I'm having a low energy day, getting on here and being like, oh yeah, I'm not feeling so hot, da-da-da, woo-woo-woo, and talking to the people, that makes no sense to me. If you tap it, it'll come back. Or if you move it.
Move it where?
Just like the mirror, if you just move. You guys more technical.
What?
Like, literally just tilt the mirror a little bit. Like, just move it. Like, yeah, like you want to shake.
Or you just have to screen that. You can try that too.
Okay, it'll come back, or it won't. It says low connectivity.
Yeah, it'd be doing that sometimes.
It does that sometimes. Because probably we're talking about some deep stuff, and we're doing both medias. You never know. Mm. And anyway, you guys, so I've noticed that when you're using both medias to record, you figure out your hacks, there'd be some issues with that. Like, the different sites don't like you to do that. Oh, hey, you guys are back. Okay, so what happens is, I forgot what I was saying about my energy, my religious energy. I can't get on. That's why even if you guys are listening to my other podcast, which is Daily Meditation Mumbo Jumbo, I still meditate daily. However, the position I was coming in when I was channeling so heavy, that energy of what I call the blue energy, I was no longer doing that. So I didn't see the reason to like fake it, like fake something I naturally do. Yeah. Or to get on social media when I'm feeling down as a spiritual person, knowing, like, sometimes I feel like when I be down, that's when it be raining. Like, to bring that heaviness and the authority and the power I internally feel like I have to social media, and that might make someone else feel down or someone else feel bad, or get on social media and be turned up in a way that's not real.
Yeah, people can sense that too.
I don't like to do that. I will be not on social media for weeks or months if that's what it takes. Like with Facebook, I'm not hardly on there because the way I feel on Facebook is really ugly, and I don't like to feel that way, so I don't be on there.
About Facebook, but whenever I go on there, I'm like, this is the ugliest thing I've ever
The
witnessed in
energy
my
for
life.
me is somewhat ugly, but then what it makes me do is, like you say, extract the good. I can do some connecting with there. I can do some engaging there. I can help still have business pages and like pages that I run there, as well as face the ugly in me. Because if I'm seeing ugly, maybe there's something ugly for me to accept, see, heal, sit with, love on, whatever it is. And I won't know that if I shy away from the ugly experience. Facebook brings me an ugly experience, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have value. And that's why, for me, having my own personal perspective is super important, because I can get really objective and really open.
Yeah.
So that, again, that movie to me brought a personal perspective of health, wealth, inner fortitude, resilience. She wasn't the best warrior per se, but she learned how to be.
Yeah.
And there was something about her on that horse and those police officers showing up that I really liked.
Yeah.
Like, she was protected.
I thought that was a good thing, too.
That imagery was very healing for me. I guess that's one thing I can
give her kudos, is that it wasn't like...
She really wasn't struggling past being...
Her escaping actually wasn't that... They didn't give... It wasn't that much, like, resistance against her escaping.
She was allowed to escape.
There's a lot of times where a lot of things could have gone wrong, and it didn't. Like, her stepping out could have gone wrong.
Dropping the phone.
The two... They could have been spotted. In the field, they could have been spotted.
I thought they was talking real loud, and they called the 911. She's like, hello? I'm like...
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's... like, the dude was literally like, Aiden! And, like... Oh, like, ain't nobody come out? Like, nobody heard that?
Where was everybody that night? That full moon night? Like, yeah. No slaves, nothing. They weren't even slaves. We're saying they were slaves. These people weren't slaves. They were regular people that were kidnapped. They were...
Yeah.
And see,
they put the costume of slaves on them and wanted them to be slaves.
So by most people's standards, they would say these people are victims. From my personal perspective,
I think they were brought there for a reason, because there were people in power.
That too, a lot of them seem to be
I think they were definitely targeting strong black people. Not necessarily have to be like leader types or in the media, but it could have been like someone they saw at the grocery store that was a little more direct than they were comfortable with a black being.
Yeah.
And they're like, we got to get that
I guess that's what you would have liked to see more of that.
Yes, I want to see more.
How are they picking the people?
What is this world that they're painting? And I didn't see enough of it. I just saw this area. We didn't see like more examples. They don't even have to show the full thing. They just have to show more implications of stuff. Like, it's hard to explain it because I'm not like a movie person, but it's just... It could have been so good.
I like the other part too. I had one of my mentors, Gia Storm, aka Mama's Matriarch. I remember her helping us with the decode and learning about makeup and how to use it, how to look at it, how to view it. And one of the perspectives and views of makeup, literally lipstick, eyelashes, all that stuff, is like war paint. And when is it appropriate? So I do like the scene where she puts on her war paint, her lipstick, to carry that conversation. She's wearing a red lip with that, like a red lip made for a brown woman.
It was like a
burgundy, dark red, rich mahogany burgundy type color. And the lady's like, oh, I love that color. And she was like, oh, okay, you know. And then I love how, and she's done with that meeting, she wipes it off. Meaning
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, as soon as the meeting was over, she wiped the lipstick off, and they showed her in the next scene kissing her husband a whole lot, and she had the pink regular her lips.
Okay.
So when she's with her family, she's not at war. Meaning that movie was so relevant for black women, even on the decode side. Meaning a lot of us are wearing the lashes and doing all this stuff at home. I'm not making a commentary on what makes people feel beautiful. But if we have to look at makeup in different perspectives, it's different functions, meaning to feel some kind of way to go in the world and get things done, to be in business, which is the war for resources, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But then when you're home with your family, you're sitting there with a full face on. How are they connecting with you? How are they knowing? You want to ask someone, do your children actually know what you look like? If something happened to you, could they identify the body if you didn't have any makeup on? Would they know you?
Right.
You're laughing, but that's a real thing for some people. There are some, and then that was supported by not slavery, but there's a time after slavery with black people, having your hair straightened, having a certain look, always being put together to hide the brokenness that you've come from based on slavery and all that, stuff.
There is a movie where it was this black woman. She was like head in her job, she had weave all the time, and her husband was like, I've never seen your real hair. I've never even touched it. When we go in the shower, I don't see it. I don't see any of it. And so the whole movie is just, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Nappy something. Nappily Ever After. That's what it's called, and it's on Netflix.
Okay, I think I've seen that, but it's been a while. Oh yeah, with was it Sanaa Lathan?
I don't know her name, but yeah, and
it got wet, and then it was like a whole thing.
Yeah, and then she at the end, her hair is short. She's with a nice, strong black man,
Mm-hmm.
and
yeah, that's Sanaa Lathan was in that movie. It was a good movie.
Yeah,
this is a good conversation. I mean, there's no clear cut solutions to it, but I do think talking about it and sharing about it.
I think there can be solutions, but they can't be like widespread solutions. Like, this is the solution for society. It has to be, what's the solution for you and your people?
Mm-hmm.
And your people meaning like not necessarily your race.
And then this is where the politics comes back in, because once you have your unit, you can come together with other units and figure out, how do we come together for the mass?
Right.
How do we make sure everybody has their egg and their salad?
Not everything has to be bonded by blood.
I just made it up because, egg meaning their meat, or like egg also says egg to me as a meat says like you can have a chicken, which can make another egg. So it's like, that's how I look at it. Like, they can have
what the
meat.
fuck does that mean?
They can have livestock, whether it be for feathers, like meats. Animals provide different resources.
Yes. I mean, I think we get it. Because I feel like you're confusing me now.
And their salads meaning vegetation. I said their chickens in this. Right here, their chicken in this salad. Some people don't want chickens to eat.
So their livestock in their farm? What are you
I cannot
saying?
deal with you sometimes.
In their garden?
You guys, this was a fun episode, albeit a little deep. Hopefully it wasn't too sad or depressing.
I don't think it was. The movie wasn't that depressing.
It was very good. It was a lot of anxiety for me watching it.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I think it definitely did a good job with some of the thriller parts. Like, just the topic alone is already, like, puts you, like...
You're trying to figure out what is going on.
Like,
honorable mention.
Oh, sorry.
Gabby Sidibe. If you don't watch the movie for no other reason, when Gabby Sidibe, who's also in Precious, who's also in Empire, when Homegirl is on camera...
And American Horror Story.
And American Horror Story and Coven. When Gabby Sidibe, the actress, is in her scenes, it makes the movie go to a complete, to me, like, 10 plus. And I know for you, those were some good scenes.
I really enjoyed her with this whole, like, girlfriend, like, best friend vibe that she was doing.
And beautiful, bodacious black woman.
She did a really good job of it. It was very believable. It wasn't cringy at all to me.
It was not cringy.
But it was hard for me to enjoy it because the underlying, like, anxiety.
Yeah, I can't imagine someone's going to bust her in the head. She was such a strong
character. I was worried
character.
they were going to kill her.
Yeah, that was the psychological part of that movie. When that woman who comes on, who's a black woman, is in her power, is sexy, is commanding the room, is solving problems in real time, showing up for her friends, encouraging them. She was doing a lot in a short amount of time.
Movies like that, what they'll do, she'll be made an example out of.
Correct, and that's what
when they do
kept
that.
thinking. Like, when the guy came in, you guys, when you see the movie, there's a part where the guy comes over and brings her a drink there at this restaurant.
I thought he was one of them.
I just knew he was gonna poison her or bust her in the head with a bottle. Cause I thought
he was gonna be like the Uber driver, and he was gonna take them and
kill them
or something like that. I was so scared.
And to me, that's what made it a good movie. That it showed you.
I wish I would have brought her back. We don't.
Yeah.
We see her. They go away, and it's like, okay.
But it showed you how you think about. Meaning, I saw that. I think on some level, if you're a black woman who's in charge of your sexuality and doing all those things that she was doing, compassionate, showing up for her friends, all of that. Spicy. She even stole some books. Like, it was a scene where she grabbed some books.
Yeah, her friend's books.
She was a full spectrum woman.
Mm-hmm.
And all I kept thinking is they're going to kill her.
They're going to... Because they always make an example out of female characters.
See,
like
even
that.
you're saying they're always... That's a program. And that's why I thought this movie was important to watch. To show you where you're programmed at. To show you how you really feel about these types of things. Mm-hmm. To show you what you expected to happen.
That's the only thing that I expected to happen, and it didn't.
Mm-hmm. I was glad it didn't happen.
I'm glad it didn't
Even on the last scene of her dancing, I was still like...
Yeah, even the way they turned, I was worried. I was scared for them. The way the shot was weird, the way they turned like that. Because I guess it's supposed to show you the like anxiety.
Because they called
separation.
her too, like when something's going on, she couldn't hear them, and it was like
no, that was her real Uber driver being like, "Hey, I'm here." First of all, that was dumb as fuck for her to be like, "Girl, I'm in my car now. What are you talking about?" If your Uber driver is calling
but you know what? She come from a dinner party. They were drinking a lot of champagne. It was the good stuff. But I don't think it was. I thought it was weird to get into the Uber car and not look and see who it was.
First of all, why the Uber cars all look the same? Is that like a regional thing?
When you get the high ones, the high spectrum ones, they look like a little cute little. They're usually like SUVs. They're all black.
Because the Friends, they had the same car. So it's like, it's just like a, okay. I don't know.
But then again, they were drinking. So there's the premises of that.
Yeah. How did the lady also know that?
I feel like we got to watch this movie again.
I don't know if I want to watch it again.
I think I might. I might buy it.
It doesn't do to me what, like, this is...
it made me personally feel a little...
Us was great. I'd watch that again movie right now. So, yes.
Us scares me, and it was creepy. I don't like that.
It wasn't that scary.
It was very scary to me.
It was just so many tidbits that, like, when you watch... See, Antebellum could have been that. You could have watched it again and be like, oh, I missed that. I don't know if there's anything I really missed like that. That would blow my mind.
And I'm going to buy that movie. I need to buy that movie and Django. I like where those movies left everything at.
I want to watch Get Out, too. I have not seen it, but I've heard
Get Out was good, too.
Get Out was
cool. In the end, it was really good how everything kind of...
And it was funny.
It was funny as fuck.
It was very funny.
You guys, this was a good conversation. Annie, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you being here. I thought it was you were relevant to the conversation. Mm-hmm. You watched the movie with us. You're considered a young black girl, you're in the world. And I enjoy having these conversations with you guys, as you know. So thanks for being our special guest tonight.
You're welcome.
On Friday the 13th.
It's 13th?
The 13th? Oh,
yes. Yeah. It's Friday the 13th all over the world.
Okay.
And Manette, do you have anything else to say and add before we close out tonight's episode?
Despite the fact that I gave Antebellum a 7 out of 10, I am actually happy where black films are going. I feel like we're getting a lot more good movies. I feel like we're just getting a lot more movies that are like, we're not getting a bunch of motherfucking Tyler Perry movies anymore. Thank motherfucking God.
He keeps making the same movie over and over again.
And they're getting worse. Yes. I don't know how you have the same recipe and you mess it up.
Throwing in all kinds of women. Oh my God. It'd be crazy.
My daddy just died. Anyways, but I'm glad we're not just getting a bunch of Tyler Perry ass movies. I'm glad we're getting into like the horror element. And it's not like
Bad Hair.
Even though
Bad Hair was good too.
Bad Hair was not great.
Yes, it was.
I thought it was okay. It was funny. It was campy. But it was funny campy.
I feel like it was stupid.
You guys have to watch Bad Hair on Hulu.
We can talk about that another day.
Do you want to talk about the top 10 bad black movies?
But here's the thing. I like that we're getting more movies in different genres and that we can even have bad movies. Right. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's better to have some bad ones than just to have none. I like how we're getting more into horror from a black person's perspective. And, and we're not always going to have... like Us and Get Out. We're gonna have some bad hairs.
All we had for the longest as far as scary black movies was Tales from the Hood.
What was Tales from the Hood?
Y'all never seen Tales from the Hood?
Was it a serious?
It was like a serious. That movie, first of all, was very scary in real life. It was a scary movie. It was a movie where they had the little boy. I tell y'all, it's like it was like a horror film, but it was an anthology of smaller films in one big long film.
Yeah.
So it was like I guess you could say short films and made one big film. Yeah. So two short films from that stuck with me was the one with the little boy who kept saying there's a monster in his house, in his room, come in the room at night, and he would draw it at school and be like this scary looking monster kind of thing. Like it's a child being scared and they're drawing it and it's like a man and you're like, ugh. And it turns out it's his dad.
It's always the dad.
It's his dad's like covering like, and he turns into an actual fucking monster, and it's really fucking creepy. Right? It's scary as hell. And then the other one is like the guy. I don't know. I forget if it's slavery or whatever, but they have the little Niglet dolls. Like someone makes these little dolls, like little black folk dolls. It's like Aunt Jim over here, but they're kind of crudely made, like how your puppets are. Imagine someone made your puppets paintings into real dolls, and they're not like whimsical. They're black people. And they're dressed like slaves. And I think that was the thing, like they put the slave spirits in the dolls or some shit. So somewhere along, these dolls is moving around the house and they talking shit and they killing people. It's just, and they was calling somebody said, look, this is little Niglets. And it was meant to be funny, but it's scary.
That sounds funny though, the way you said
it's
scary.
It was scary. That shit was creepy as. If y'all watch that movie, you gotta watch it daytime. It's an actual scary movie.
Okay.
And the guy's coming through the house and he's touching the lights and they're coming on. He's like, oh, old scary black man, and it's a.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we're getting into different genres.
Yeah.
Like even with Issa Rae, doing her
Ooh,
thing.
yes, honey. Even though those last couple movies were a little...
I mean, the one we saw with the Indian guy, I hope it's Indian
That
guy.
was good. That was good. I enjoyed that.
That was
It seems
great.
like her, when she's an interracial love interest in the film, it's better than when they keep giving her these black men roles.
She's
like
an awkward black girl. And so you
she
gotta
has to
have
with her branding.
Yeah. I don't know what would be... Would it be an awkward black guy? That would be actually bomb as fuck.
That would be
they
so
have
bomb.
to have someone who's like her.
an awkward black boy.
I'm sorry.
Guy.
What's his name? Even though I have
the
a big
Indian
crush
guy
on
that
him.
was in that movie?
No, the Photograph, the other movie she's in.
I didn't like that.
Even though I have a big crush on him, that shit was... He was
you have a crush on, what's his name?
Yes, I think he's so cute.
Say, what's his name? Tell me his name.
I don't know.
Oh my god, the guy from Get Out.
I have the biggest crush on him. He's so weird.
Really?
And I love it. But his character in that movie was like such a D-bag. Like he was
the total.
I was like, that nigga trash. Don't give him. Like he was.
You guys, we're gonna clearly keep talking. So we're gonna wrap this conversation up, and we're gonna pick it up.
I feel like we should. The intro and outro should be the song.
You want to do that again?
Yeah.
All right, you guys. So we want to thank you for tuning into Mad Commentary, which is mother and daughter commentary.
Yes.
And I am Oya Gold of Gold Energy Management, and
I am Aminette of Ammo Cat. I feel like you should be doing that for me.
No, do it for yourself.
Okay, well, I did it.
Okay, so tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, on Instagram, it's Ammo Cat, so it's AMO_CAAT, so Ammo Cat.
Mm-hmm. And my daughter Anastasia is on the internet, but where she's at is none of your business.
Right.
So you can check out Ammo Cat on Instagram or Oya Gold on Instagram, and also Mad Commentary on Instagram. If you're following us already, you already know how to keep up the flow. If you're not, you're about to join the flow. So we thank you and...
Mad Commentary.
All right.
Yes. Mad Commentary.